Hi, it's Ian from the Postal Hub podcast.
And Marek from Last Mile Experts.
And we are the Last Mile Prophets. This is the last word on the last mile. This video is created thanks to Modern Expo, one of the key players in the world's parcel locker market. Modern Expo's product portfolio includes innovative solutions with refrigeration and freezing cells, Bluetooth locks, and even personal parcel lockers. Marek, we're returning to Lockerland. For those of you unfamiliar with the phrase, Marek calls Poland Lockerland because you can't walk 50 metres down the street without tripping over a parcel locker. So it seems. Now, Marek, there are a couple of developments recently in Poland with regard to lockers that may provide pointers to what's going to happen in the rest of Europe and maybe even the rest of the world. First of all, let's talk about what InPost is doing with, it's called Zabka. How do you pronounce it? Who are they? What do they do?
Which means, well, little frog or frog. But anyway, what it means, though, that means nothing to anyone. But if I say it's Poland's equivalent of 7-Eleven, then you'll understand what we're talking about. And it's interesting, but let me take a step back. So, we call it Lockerland because InPost have now got over 16,500 lockers. Allegro have got something like 1,000. Cainiao, probably around about half that, but they want to ramp up very fast. SwipBox haven't done too much. They've still got a couple of hundred, I believe. Let's see how many Arlen have got, but they sort of plan to have several thousand as well, but I'm not sure how many they've actually rolled out. But wow, I mean, if you put that all together, we must be on the level of around about 20,000 machines. So that's the starting point. But what is really interesting is the Żabka deal. Do you want to know why?
I want to know why. Everybody wants to know why. Why are we recording this video if you're not going to tell us about the little frog deal?
So the little frog actually is quite a big frog because they've got, I think, between 7,000 and 8,000 PUDO points open at the moment, in most cases, 7 days a week, early to late. So it's a very, very attractive option for a PUDO. Now, up until now, they have served Polish Post and DHL. And particularly for DHL, they're an absolutely key part of the network. This bombshell news, which is reported, it's not confirmed, it's reported, is that InPost has elbowed their way into that deal. What is not clear in is whether it means InPost will have exclusivity, which would really be a bombshell because then suddenly Polish Post and DHL loses a huge number of points. But even if it doesn't include the exclusivity, with 16,500 lockers and about 2,000 PUDOs already, so 18.5, you add 7 to 8 to that, wow, that becomes a huge network.
Now, is your understanding that those outlets will host InPost lockers, or will they just be part of the InPost out-of-home network and effectively just become PUDOs somehow connected to InPost's network?
This is the bit, Ian, that's not entirely clear. What the article talks about is InPost's sexy new retail robotics locker. You remember the one that fits in the corner of a small convenience store, has a very small footprint, and effectively looks like an automatic teller machine from the perspective of a consignee. So that's the bit that's not clear. Is it going to be that basically slowly the PUDO points are going to be enhanced with that machine and that will be exclusive? Or does it mean that in the interim, InPost will also have access to those points using them as normal PUDOs?
So my question then is, what's in it for Żabka? Because if they're already a PUDO point, what's in it for them? I mean, is the retail business in need of revitalization? Is it because of foot traffic post-pandemic? What do you think's happening there?
Well, I think there are a lot of things there. So first of all, I don't want to spill the beans because we haven't issued our 2022 Polish CEP report. But what we can say from the last one is no one has grown anywhere as fast as InPost. So these guys have a huge chunk of the market, and it's great for anyone offering PUDOs to be associated with them. So that's the first thing. As we all know, for the PUDO point, it's important to get footfall. If you have the biggest carrier, and today InPost is the biggest carrier on board, then you do get footfall. So I think that's part of it. What's in it for Żabka? Żabka are super clever guys. The key owner, I believe, is CVC, who are also super clever guys who used to own at least one post in the past.
B-Post.
Indeed. Didn't they also have Danish Post? Or a bit of it? I think they had something there.
Oh, answers in the comments.
Yeah, something to let us know. But anyway, these guys understand the last mile. And I think that this could be part of adding an extra string to their bow. So, they create a last mile out of home capability in its own right. But, also there are so many attractive reasons now for a point like Żabka to have parcels. Imagine you pick up your parcel in your app, you get a voucher and it says one off today now in Żabka, you can get your beer for 20% less.
Yeah.
So,
We've talked about that before with regard to, who was it? Was it when Alibaba was going into retail points in Moscow, along with a similar sort of deal, partnering with the local small businesses? I guess the other part of this could also be around staffing. We hear there's lots of pressure on the labour market at the moment, and if you're having difficulty getting staff, you might only have a limited number of staff members at that outlet, and it's open 24 hours a day. Have they got the physical manpower or person power, whatever the latest phrase is, to be able to deal with the parcels as well? Automate it, stick it in a corner, and all of a sudden your counter staff can focus on actually serving customers who might be bringing in direct revenue.
That could be the other part of the deal, because the only company in Poland that has this technology, as far as I'm aware, and probably not just in Poland, is Retail Robotics. Retail Robotics has a framework agreement with InPost. I'm not sure of the details, and I wouldn't share it if I did, but I suspect there's something that suggests that if Żabka wants that machine, they deal with InPost. So it's quite a complex, I would say, matter. The end game, though, is, I think you're right, that giving the machines or testing the machines gives them a chance to automate the process, to take away some of the onerous parcel-related work from the small number of humans in the point, and perhaps at the end of the day, if you think about it, move to the point whereby the point becomes automated completely. So you can't do an automated store with parcels at the moment, given the size of lockers and so on. So this could be all part of a big scheme.
Who knows if they're going to follow the lead of companies such as Amazon, doing the entirely staffless stores where you walk in and walk out, through to what we saw last year with Austrian Post, where they've got parcel lockers and drop off and the ability for people to do various things outside of operating hours. One other thing I want to quickly ask you about, Marek, in the small amount of time we have left, I saw on LinkedIn recently that Cainiao, I'm sorry, I still haven't worked out how to say it. Their AliExpress lockers, which actually have a particular brand, they've got over 300, heading towards 400 in Poland. So this is another player that's sort of growing on in Lockerland, isn't it?
Absolutely. And this is a dark horse because the potential is immense. They've got a great team, and I'm personally friends with Vaisel, who's their BD guy there. I think the challenge they're going to have is, with 16,500 points already reserved, many of them with exclusivity by InPost, it's just very, very difficult. What we can see already with Allegro is they're putting their lockers in some quite strange places, small towns, a little bit off the beaten track, which in turn suggests they're going to be suboptimal in terms of operations. The fact that they've only got 1,000, and you remember the MVP, 1 per 10,000, which means 3,800 are needed in Poland. So, it's difficult.
So there you have it. A bit of an insight into what's happening in the last mile, in particular lockers in Marek's backyard, in Lockerland. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please remember to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so that you get every one of our videos. I nearly said downloaded to your device. No, that's podcast. No, you'll get a notification to say that you've got the new video from us. So do that, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. Helps us keep these videos free for you. Marek Różycki, thanks for being on The Last Mile Profits today.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, everybody.